Ayy, look, yeah, ayy. I'm in the lab like Dexter, brand new batch he tested. I'm with all the extras, don't try and bitch, I'm pressure. I'm the type to step on steppers, I'm the type to step on steppers. I'm the type to step on steppers, I'm the type to step on steppers.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the New Media Podcast. I'm your host, Ya. We hope you enjoyed the last episode because, as always, today's going to be an even better episode. Of course, I got the whole crew with me. Everybody's in the house today. In our last episode, we had a lot of special guests come on and give their season recap and along with their Super Bowl predictions. And of course, today we're here to give our own, along with the NFL award honors have been released. All the winners have been announced. So, of course, we'll be doing a little bit of a recap there as well. But of course, before we jump into everything, temperature check. How's everybody doing today?
Yeah, this is what we've been waiting for, right? All season, the final game.
Woo, baby. I've been waiting for this moment, man. Big game, Super Bowl. Get to enjoy with the family, Little get back together, everybody together. So hopefully it's a good game. No blowouts or anything like that.
Yeah, man. One final game. Winner takes all. It's going to be our first NFL season in the books after that. And going straight to basketball, man. But of course, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Super Bowl predictions. Of course, we have Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Who do you guys got and why?
This is a tough one. This is a very, very tough one because, you can start from anywhere, whether you can start from the quarterback matchup. And, a lot of people are going to say, well, one team has Patrick Mahomes, the other doesn't. And that's a very valid argument. I mean, you're coming in with the best quarterback in the league. It doesn't matter who you're up against. This guy's Superman. It doesn't matter who he's playing against. But at the same time, you're coming around versus a team that's a team by committee. That's how I like to describe them. They're just very, very solid on all fronts, whether that's their offensive line, their running game, their wide receivers, even their quarterback play. And then, of course, we can't forget their defense, their stout rush. So on multiple levels, this Eagles team is well-rounded. But if I had to pick a winner in this game, I'm going to go with the Eagles. I just feel like in this matchup, I'm getting a sense of that 2020 matchup against the Bucs. And I don't think it'll be to that degree where Mahomes is constantly under fire multiple times throughout that game. I just feel like in that game, he just had nobody on his offensive line. But in this one, he's coming up against a defense where they finished third all time in the NFL in sacks in one season. So, I mean, they're just very, very stout defensively. And of course, they have a solid secondary with guys like James Bradbury and Darius Slay and Gardner Johnson. And just like the availability of their wide receivers that they have with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown is just a plethora of weapons. So this team can beat you on multiple levels. But at the same time, I think at some point, Patrick Mahomes is a lot more healthier than he was a couple weeks back. So it really depends on, can the Eagles get to Patrick Mahomes, and he's the fastest at getting rid of the NFL, the ball out of his hands in the NFL. Out of any quarterback, he led the league in quick passes. Like, he gets the ball out of his hands fast, and of course his mobility is second to none. His ability to make throws on the run. So I just feel like this Eagles team has just too much talent and too much all around them, and it's just almost been a Cinderella story for them all season long with their easy schedule, and of course with how good they are. They've just cakewalked everything, and they're coming up against probably their toughest matchup all season. But in this one, I feel comfortable going with the Eagles. Their key is just getting to Patrick Mahomes. If they're able to get to Patrick Mahomes, that's the difference maker for them. If Hassan Reddick and all those guys can get to Patrick Mahomes, that's where the game will be won. And if Jalen Hurts is any better than he was against the Niners, that's a plus for them. So.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I feel like it's going to be an extremely close game, man, but I got to go with Patty P. Mahomes. I just think that, especially with how the Eagles this season, how it's been a fantastic year for them, winning almost every game, healthy, with even like the two last games without Jalen Hurts. It was competitive, but hey, you're missing your quarterback, It's a Cinderella story, but all Cinderella stories got to come to an end, and they're facing one of the best quarterbacks to touch the field. So for me, I feel like, Mahomes coming in with this healthy crew, Pacheco, McKinnon, MVS, Nicole Hardman, Kadarius Toney, and top of it, one of the greatest tight ends to play the game, Travis Kelce. I feel like he's just going to elevate everybody's game on that offensive side of the ball. And Andy Reid's going to be prepared for Hassan Reddick and that Eagles front seven. But to speak about the Eagles, man, I feel like, the Chiefs come in, they key in on the run game, and they take that away from Jalen Hurts and, make it a passing competition. He has great wideouts and great tight end in Goddard, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. But, if I feel like the Chiefs can make it a dogfight, I don't think Hurts is going to stand it. Yeah, I don't think Hurts – he hasn't been put in a position where he to win a game. And the ball hasn't been in his hands to win a game. And Mahomes, we've seen it multiple times. We've seen him, he can get down the field 15, 17 seconds, 2 plays, 3 plays. We haven't seen that from Hurts. And if it comes to a close game, I really believe the Chiefs are going to walk out with the W. So for me, it's a couple things. Chiefs keying on the run game, force Hurts to pass the ball, get great protection, protect Mahomes from Reddick in the front seven, and if they can do that, I think they come out with the W. So I'm picking the Chiefs.
Yeah, for me, it's this one was extremely tough. I'll go ahead and start off by looking at the injury report because I know coming out of Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes pretty much had practice squad wide receivers out there towards the end of the game. And looking at it right now, Kadarius Toney was a full participant in practice, so he'll be good to go. Juju will be there as well. He was a full participant in practice. He'll be good to go. A guy on the defensive side that they'll need, L'Jarius Sneed. He was a full participant in practice, so he'll be good to go. The one guy that won't be available in this game is Mecole Hardman. He re-aggravated that same injury that sidelined him for 6 weeks, so he won't be there. But I think with those guys, the Kansas City Chiefs should feel confident and that they're able to win this game. But this one's pretty much a coin toss, and it wouldn't be us to not mention the spread and what Vegas got. Vegas got the Eagles winning this game -1.5. So with that, I'm just gonna have to go the Kansas City Chiefs simply off of experience, in my opinion. I trust Andy Reid and his coaching staff. I trust Mahomes, and yeah, of course, it's not a quarterback battle. It's the Eagles versus the Chiefs, not Mahomes versus Hurts, and a lot of things have to go right for the Chiefs to win this game. They got to be stout on defense, pretty similar to what they did to the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow, and their plethora of weapons. Because of course, when you have AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, those guys can give you hell all night. And I think the Chiefs defense, they have a young secondary. They played well in the AFC Championship game. I think that carries over into this week. And Mahomes and Travis Kelce, those guys just seem to connect. Every single game they play with each other. So I think their connection will be no different in this one. And to force Jalen Hurts to do the things we're not accustomed to seeing would take a lot from the Kansas City Chiefs defense. I think Jalen Hurts is going to be able to do whatever he wants out there. I don't think the Chiefs defense is going to be capable of taking him out of the run game like the Niners defense were able to do so a couple of weeks back. I think he'll be successful on the ground, and I think his shoulder's feeling a lot better coming into this one. But for me, the only reason why I'm rocking with the Chiefs is simply based off experience. I think, when the moment is there, the lights are the brightest. Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, those guys know how to, they don't shy away from that. And we've seen them win it. We've seen them lose it in the spot. And now they have an opportunity to redeem themselves from their last Super Bowl appearance. But, if the Eagles somehow, some way are able to cap off this Cinderella story run, the biggest winner, of course, would be Jalen Hurts. The extension on the way. The Eagles now know that it's going to be above $50 million, and the negotiations will have to start there. But I think at some point, there's going to be a time where Jalen Hurts has to make a couple throws, and he might not be able to do so, but at the same time, he might be. But it really just depends on the health on his shoulder. But for me, I just got to go with Patrick Mahomes. I've been going against him quite a lot this entire year. I did come into the season saying I wasn't going to doubt him. I wasn't going to hate on him, but look at me now. I've been hating and doubting him the entire time, and then now I got to go rock with him in the Super Bowl. So go ahead and give me the Kansas City Chiefs. For the Eagles, there's nobody on the injury report. Everybody's been good for them since pretty much the entire season. We know the injury status of Jalen Hurts. He's going to be ready to go. So go ahead and give me Kansas City. And with that, we'll go ahead and move on.
I just need the Chiefs to start off with the ball tomorrow. That's it. They win the game. They win the game if they start off.
I mean, the Eagles would have to win the coin toss then, right?
Chiefs would have to win the coin toss.
I feel like
I think most teams that win the coin toss, I'm pretty sure they
defer. They gotta know, man.
They defer.
I don't know, bro. I feel like if the Eagles get it, 9 minutes run out, they're gonna run the clock. Mahomes gonna be on the sideline for a minute. That one stop happens. Might be a 14-0 game, I feel like the Chiefs get that ball first, and they might do something. That's just me, though.
I'm not too sure if any of the teams are going to come out and they win the coin toss. They're not going to defer. They're going to take the ball and not defer. But it'll be interesting to see. But we'll go ahead and move on to our NFL Honors Award winners for the 2022 NFL season, and for the AP Most Valuable Player Award. Of course, it was won by no other than Patrick Mahomes from Kansas City.
I don't think there should be much disagreement there. I mean, there could be an argument where if Jalen Hurts hadn't gotten injured, maybe he would have contested it for that award. But we knew Patrick Mahomes after halfway through the season that it was looking like he was going to become the finalist. I mean, this guy's just a machine. I think every single time he's been a starter, he's thrown 35 plus touchdown passes since 2018. I mean, this guy's an absolute monster. Won this division yet again to nobody's surprise and won the AFC. This guy's just a monster. He's just a monster. There's no other way to describe him, and I don't think anybody has an argument against him winning MVP at all.
He said everything, man. Like, other than if Jalen Hurts wasn't, injured, but other than that, Mahomes has been one of the best players all year long. I mean, he deserves it again, won the AFC, won his division, put the numbers up again, led the league in I think he led the league in passing yards, right?
I'm actually not sure.
We can go ahead and fact check that.
Right? Is it him or Herbert? I know Brady was up there again too.
I'm
pretty sure he was top 3 at least.
Passing yards, he did lead the league in passing yards with 5,250 passing yards.
Another year in, year out, plays phenomenal every year. He doesn't miss. So, well deserved.
Yeah, 5,200 passing yards, 41 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions in a Super Bowl appearance. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was pretty much a no-brainer. The only guy that had a chance was Jalen Hurts. He pretty much had the award won up until he got injured, but that's just what it is, man. And all it takes is 1 week for you to go from 1 to 2. So, shout out to Patrick Mahomes, man. But we'll go ahead and move on to AP Coach of the Year. That award was won by no other than Brian Daboll out of New York.
I have no problem with that either. I mean, coming into the season, we didn't have expectations of the Giants even getting into the playoffs. We knew that they'd be in a rebuild. We didn't know what Brian Daboll was going to bring in terms of an identity to this team. And, with Daniel Jones at the helm, we had no clue whether or not they would even have a chance of competing within their own division because, of course, we had our doubts about Daniel Jones, but Brian Daboll was able to really coach him into playing into his system and to playing into their offensive identity. And, it worked out great for them. I mean, this guy, he gave them identity, he reestablished New York football for them. And I'll have no arguments against him winning this award. There's a couple other guys, that deserved it as well, but I feel like he was definitely the one that deserved the most.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. He was, for me, top 2 candidate. It was going to be either him or Nick Sirianni. They, both phenomenal coaches. But for Daboll, him coming into this team, we all expected 3 wins, 4 wins. A lot of people doubted Daniel Jones. They really didn't have a lot of offensive pieces, and for him to make the playoffs and go to the second round and upset the Vikings first round, who were 13-4, it's phenomenal. He got the team to buy into the system. He got the defense to buy into the system, and him and Daniel Jones, man, they got together, they worked together, and they're playing phenomenal together. So for him to come over, take over this team with the, the little pieces he had on the offensive side of the ball, it's phenomenal. So, man, well deserved for him, So,
I mean, I don't have any complaints about, Brian Daboll winning this award. I can't necessarily talk bad about them or the Giants for what they did to my team, but I don't know, man. This one was like a true toss-up. I'm not too sure. If I would have put Nick Sirianni into the discussion, I would put Doug Peterson in the discussion because pretty much the Jaguars and the Giants had the same expectations coming into this year where they weren't going to do a whole lot of winning and they're going to be a team that has a very, very high draft pick and, just pretty much in another rebuild year. And both franchises were able to, make the playoffs and win a playoff game. The Giants were pretty much steady the entire season. They started off the year high and then kind of took a little bit of a dip and kind of just came back up and did enough to make the playoffs and win a playoff game. The Jaguars, they had a roller coaster of a season where they started off the year, I think 1-1, and next thing you know, they lose the next like 6 games, and coming off the bye week, they start reeling off wins, and they win just enough games to sneak into the playoffs and win a playoff game in amazing fashion, coming back down from 27-0 against the Los Angeles Chargers. Both franchises had great stories and both coaches had, their right to win this award, but for them to give it to Brian Daboll, I'm not too necessarily mad at it. I think regardless of whichever way you went, they're both very deserving. But we'll go ahead and move on to AP Comeback Player of the Year. That was won by Geno Smith.
Geno Smith coming back from the assembly line, man. It's crazy. Came back from unemployment. But I again, this one,
Better
know,
year than Aaron Rodgers, trash ass.
no, there's 1 year. Of course, next year when
I'm gonna
Geno
take
Smith,
it. No. I'm gonna take that 1 year though. Give it to me. I'm gonna take that 1 year.
yeah,
That's
when
it.
he when he throws 18 picks next year, we're all gonna see there. It's nice. But anyways, back to Geno Smith. I mean, I don't know why people were kind of criticizing this award. I mean, like, yeah, your favorite player towards ACL and he came back and had 1,000 yards, but like, who expected Geno Smith to put up this year? I mean, for him to be a backup quarterback basically his entire career, putting up no type of numbers basically, and coming to this year as a starter, nobody expected this type of season from Geno Smith. Nobody expected the Seahawks to even make the playoffs, and for him to come in and be able to be at the helm of that and lead this team to the playoffs, I have no issue why he would win this award. I mean, this award it's just literally comeback player of the year. It doesn't specify whether you had an ACL injury or Achilles injury or whatever you came from. It's just a matter of coming back from a certain circumstance, and that's what Geno Smith did, and he deserves all credit for that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna disagree with this award whatsoever. My guy Geno walked out with it after, I don't know how long being on the bench as a backup. 4 years behind Wilson, 3 years behind Mark Sanchez. It's a long time coming. He came in 4,200 yards, I think 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Played phenomenal, 70% completion rate. So I think it's well deserved. If McCaffrey stayed on the Panthers, would you guys expect him to win this award or not? See, so the case of him going on the Niners with the well-oiled team, a phenomenal coach, 100 different pieces on offense, a great line, he's bound to make those stats, especially him being a top 5 running back he is. So, great way to end the season, Geno. I'm happy, he got the award, so just keep it going.
I don't like those last comments. I mean, if Christian McCaffrey were to put up the same numbers in Carolina, he probably walks away with this award though.
No, but he was not going to put the same numbers up in Carolina.
But you never know. You never know, right?
We do know though.
How do we know?
I'm just saying he was not going to put those numbers up like he did with the Niners.
But if he were to put up these, if he were to put up these type of numbers,
he was,
yeah. Hypothetically speaking, he would have won this award, right?
I will give it to McCaffrey if he did on the Panthers.
Very fair. I don't have a problem with this one, anyways. I think out of all the Seahawks players that were nominated for awards on this night, I think Geno Smith was probably the highest one to walk away, highest percentage to walk away with an award, and I'm not too mad at it. He was in the running with Saquon and CMC. Saquon, he's good comeback story, but kind of took a dip in production midway through the season, towards the end of the season, and then CMC, of course, he was kind of steady throughout. But I said this in the beginning of the year. The NFL, they look for Hollywood storylines, and Geno Smith had the best Hollywood storyline. It's something that can sell box office tickets. Some people can buy in and kind of watch and enjoy, and this is kind of pretty much what it was from being a journeyman his entire career and then sitting behind Russell Wilson for quite some time, and next thing you know, he comes in and leads the Seattle Seahawks to the playoffs. So I think this one was very, very well deserved. But now we move on to the next award, probably my favorite award of the night. AP Offensive Player of the Year was won by no other than Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I think this award shifted, I'd like to say 3/4 of the way of the season, or maybe halfway through the season, as soon as Tua started to pick up injuries and Tyreek Hill's production kind of slowed down. I think then it kind of went towards JJ's way, especially considering his production and his consistency all season long. An argument could be made if Tyreek Hill had his quarterback that he would have probably had a chance at winning this award, but it doesn't matter. I mean, coming to this year, I think I had JJ winning this award. I mean, the guy was only getting that.
Right?
I believe I had
JJ.
I feel like we did.
I feel like
I remember like
somebody brought
we're floating Jonathan Taylor and like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I feel like I had JJ. But for the most part, we probably all three of us had JJ. And there was, I mean, is it a big shocker? I mean, coming into the last season, we saw the production that he had, and then again, he just went up another level this season, establishing himself as a top 2, top 3 wide receiver in this league, and I have no problem with him winning this. I mean, the guy played as the best wide receiver all season long.
I agree 100%, man. I mean, we talked about it. We were saying JJ 2K, but I mean, it was close. He led the league in yards. I think he ended with what? Yeah, he had 9 touchdowns.
1,800 yards and 8 touchdowns, 9 total touchdowns though.
9 total touchdowns. I mean, this year he came in, that's like 3 years in a row. First year 1,600, second year 1,400, and then third year 1,800. This guy just been consistently grinding, and just every year his game elevates. And I don't know what people say, like, hey, this guy, he's not the best receiver in the league. Tyreek's here, top 3. I just feel like it's a lot of disrespect to JJ. I mean, he deserves his flowers. He deserves this award, but give him a better quarterback. I feel like he to the moon. We can see 15 touchdowns. I swear.
What is that supposed to mean?
I understand. I don't know. I feel like just taking shots at your team today for no reason.
That's not, that's not cool, man. But to speak about this award, man, I mean, I predicted it in the offseason. I said my guy was going to come into this year and dominate and establish himself as the best receiver in the league. And I feel like that's exactly what he came in. Exactly what he did. He came in and he dominated from game one all the way to the end of the season. And yeah, he had his moments where, of course, the numbers weren't so nice, but he just had so many big games and impactful plays. So it was just enough for him to win this award. Yeah, at some point in the season, Tyreek Hill was ahead of him in yards, and he was ahead of him to win this award. But we know with the quarterback situation, like Abdi mentioned, Tua going down, it's kind of like all hypotheticals at this point. And to speak about JJ, man, for him to come into the league and kind of establish himself as like a top 7 wide receiver after year one, and then kind of pretty much go up and up, and now he's already the best receiver in the league. It just goes to show what type of talent we have in our hands, and hopefully as a franchise we don't necessarily screw that up. We make it right with him, and having the best receiver in the league is one thing, but we have to build a team around him, and I'm hoping that we do so. But my guy was also nominated for the MVP award, and of course, like I said, we were just happy to be nominated for that, and but I'm glad he was able to walk away with this one, because I'll take it. A lot of other guys in the league don't necessarily have this award on them, and coming into in year 3, he's already got one. He's probably can get a few more, 3 years from now. So happy for my guy, and congrats to him. But now we move on to AP Defensive Player of the Year, and that was won by Nick Bosa.
This one, I didn't have an issue with it at all, but I do have an issue with the disrespect towards Micah Parsons. I feel like he probably should have had more votes. I feel like at some point in the season, even towards the later stage of the season, this was still a relatively close award. I'm confused how did he even get a first place vote? I feel like Hassan Reddick probably had more first place votes than him.
He didn't get a first place vote.
Yeah, you see what I mean?
One more than him.
Quentin Williams probably had a more first place votes than him.
I think he did too, right?
Yeah,
one as well. That's crazy.
Yes. So I like Nick Bosa. I mean, he was the head of a team that was that went on a 10-game win streak. I mean, he was absolutely dominant. 18.5 sacks. I mean, this guy was all over quarterbacks. There's at some points in the game where he had 2 or 3 sacks. Like, this guy was just dominating the game. But I feel like Michael Parsons deserves his respect as well. He should have probably ended up with more votes. But Nick Bosa led the best defense in the NFL, so there's no argument there for me.
Yeah, there's no argument there for me. Bosa coming into this year, it was either him or TJ Watt. TJ Watt, he got injured, missed about 7 games, but Bosa, every single game he showed up. The amount of pressures he put on the quarterback, the amount of sacks he came out with, the forced fumbles, he played fantastic. But Michael Parsons, man, wasn't this guy second in sacks this year? Yep. Didn't he have like 2 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown, another forced fumble for a touchdown? That's pretty disrespectful. I feel like they're just hating on him for no reason. And I feel like he was better than Chris Jones, Quentin Williams, and what's his face, Hassan Reddick, all 3. And I feel like he could have been second place, but I don't know why there was biasness there. So that's all I got to say. Parsons deserves a little more respect. Bosa deserves the award.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too mad that Bosa won it. And I definitely agree with you guys that Micah Parsons did get disrespected by not earning himself a first place vote. But this is good fuel, good ammunition to come into next year, good motivation for it's a nice little chip on his shoulder. For him to go out there and just dominate, because we know Micah Parsons' impact on games. He's, regardless whether or not he ever wins Defensive Player of the Year, he's going to come out and dominate each and every game. And Nick Bosa came into this year and pretty much dominated from start to finish. But Micah Parsons, being relatively young and looking for a second contract, playing for the Cowboys, I mean, he's gonna be around for a very, very long time. And he was my pick to win Defensive Player of the Year to start the year, but I'm not too sure if anybody here had Nick Bosa. I think Big H, you had Nick Bosa as honorable mention.
TJ. So I had TJ Watt and then Nick Bosa as the honorable mention.
Yeah, so you're pretty much right. You hit it around the head there. So, I mean, good for Nick Bosa. Got himself a Defensive Player of the Year award, so I'm not too mad about it. But now we go ahead and move on to AP Offensive Rookie of the Year. Seattle Seahawks fans, and close your eyes and close your ears.
Media been bought, so I'm saying that's all I gotta say. Media been bought.
The winner of the AP Offensive Rookie of the Year award was won by Garrett Wilson.
I mean, what's the problem with him winning this? What's like? Did Seattle fans really think they're gonna come in and sweep these awards? Like Tariq Woolen was gonna win one, and
no. I'm gonna give Sauce Gardner. I'm gonna give Sauce Gardner one, but Kenneth Walker, I feel like he deserves this one. How do you get the most first place? But how do you get the most first place votes but not win it? That makes no sense to me.
I
That's
mean,
crazy.
Garrett Wilson.
No. How do you get the most first place votes but you don't win it? They brought us some bullshit just for that award, right? They brought us some bullshit just for that. And they said second place votes, third place votes count.
I mean, the award isn't based on solely first place votes. It's a combination of everything, though. I mean, like I can see the argument why can't, even with him picking up injuries and him not starting the season, and then he was a huge part of the offense for the Seattle Seahawks, and especially.
And especially total yards and 9 touchdowns, crazy.
Especially with him going down, you can see how the offense took a dip. So I see the argument made there, and I feel like Chris Olave is going a bit underrated with the circumstances that he had. With the circumstances that he had, the multiple, Andy Dalton and then James Winston at some point, and then of course Taysom Hill, the tight end coming in at quarterback at times, and then he picked up a concussion, and somehow Chris Olave was still up there in terms of stats for rookies, and I feel like he deserves his respect. But Garrett Wilson, him winning it, I can't be mad with any of these three guys. As long as Brock Purdy had not had a chance, I don't care out of these three, because seeing Brock Purdy on the finals list early on had me pissed. But
played 7 games, but they just do mother.
Any of these three guys winning it, I have no issue with. But Kenneth Walker, to me, I can see the argument why he would be the most deserving, because I mean the games that he didn't start in the beginning, and then the injuries that he picked up, and he still finished with 1,000+ yards. So there's a good argument there.
That's my argument right there. And I feel like Garrett Wilson, I mean, he did have a good year. It ended 1,100 yards, 70-some receptions, 4 touchdowns.
Something like that,
yeah. He had a good year, man. But for me, Kenneth Walker missing the amount of games he had.
Plus, you got to add Zach Wilson tax. So
Zach Wilson tax too. Okay, yeah. Between those two, and they're still throw Purdy out, but they should have given it to Kenneth Walker, man. It was just New York media based. They're like, New York got to sweep the awards, and that's it. So
I don't know about it. I don't know about it for this award, but I honestly don't know why Brock Purdy showed up. He was a finalist, so of course I think he had to be there, but. I mean, we all knew he wasn't going to win it, but I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad that Garrett Wilson won this award. This one could have gone either way for me. I didn't necessarily really care who was going to win it, but for Garrett Wilson to win, AP Offensive Rookie of the Year, it's good for him. But I thought Chris Olave was going to win this award. That was my prediction to start the year, and that's the New Orleans Saints was just a roller coaster of a season for them, going up and down, and Olave getting hurt at some point. So it was his award to lose, and he ended up losing it. And a guy that, I know we talked about it last time when they came out with the finalists. Tyler Algier deserved his respect as well for having the quietest 1,000-yard season as a rookie. But, they somehow, some way gave Brock Purdy
for him too, for him too, coming off the bench behind Cordell Patterson after the first 4 or 5 games. And then who's the other running back they started before him until he really.
I forgot his name. Yeah, the other guy.
There's another guy. So him playing limited amount of time as well. Who knows, so.
Yeah, he really earned himself that number 1 spot in Atlanta. But for Garrett Wilson,
another guy too on the path before he got hurt, Breece Hall.
Oh yeah, Breece Hall was definitely on his way there.
He was leading the way before he got hurt. That man was on. He was getting 75-yard touchdown runs. He was getting 50-yard touchdown passes. Every time he touched the ball, he was doing something special.
I mean, I feel like Breece Hall had a good 2-week stretch. It was like a good 2.
It wasn't a good 2-week stretch. They were 5. What were they? 5-1. Was that?
The offense fell off a cliff for that.
Yeah. He was a big part of when they established him as the running back 1.
When he got hurt against the Broncos game, that's when the offense took a dip. And that's when Zach Wilson got exposed.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But now we move on to AP Defensive Rookie of the Year. Once again, Seahawks fans, close your eyes and close your ears. And that was won by Sauce Gardner.
I mean, this award was already written by week 5. This award was already done by then. I know Tariq Woolen, he had a great year himself, but I feel like this award was just as soon as week 5, week 6, they already declared him as the winner of this award. And New York, it's already tough to compete with New York media, but at the same time, we have to give Sauce his respect. He did his thing as a rookie. I understand Tariq Woolen was phenomenal himself, but Sauce was no slouch himself. So it's not like as if this award was a ripoff and Tariq should have won it. I feel like Sauce did exactly what he was supposed to do. I mean, coming into the season, a lot of guys had him winning Defensive Rookie of the Year, and he proved exactly why. This guy was just dominant in his coverages. So I mean, big ups to him. But Tariq also deserves his respect as well.
Yeah, that's what you really can't argue with. Like I'd said, by week 6, media already written it. Everybody was saying, Sauce, one of the best cornerbacks in the league. It's done by then. They're 6-1. They're winning. He's showing up. He's hooping. But Well deserved though. He hooped throughout the whole season. It's not like he was just a 7-week, 8-week guy. It was the full season he balled out. But T. Woolen, came out of nowhere. Pete Carroll drafted him, switched him, put him at cornerback. He was like, I love this kid, and came out with 7 interceptions and hooped for it. So I'm not mad at the award. Gave him to Sauce. Well deserved. He was top 4 pick in the draft. Nothing wrong with that. I did pick him to win rookie of the year, and defensive rookie of the year. He won everything. Just give him his awards.
I mean, it's okay to be upset and to hide it though. I mean, you did think that
I'm
Tariq
not
Woolen was
upset. I'm
gonna
upset
win.
about I'm upset about the Kenneth Walker one. This one you can't really be upset about it.
Fair enough. I'm not too mad at it. I think coming into the year, I don't know who. I think I had Jordan Davis winning this award. And
What
then-
happened to that guy though? I was just
I got injured.
he
Yeah, he got injured, but he was a big run stopper for the Eagles, and I'm just not too sure if his impact was big enough to earn himself as a top finalist for this award. But I think Sauce Gardner becomes the third DB to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think Marshawn Lattimore won the award and Marcus Peters. I had this written down when we were doing our predictions. So Tariq Woolen, he made himself a strong case. This one was a toss up as well. I wouldn't be too mad if they gave it to Tariq as well. He had himself a hell of a year, an extremely talented ball hawk. But Sauce, I knew it from the beginning of the season, at the midway point when he was dominating. That the media just wasn't going to let him lose this award, and to come to find out he comes in and just wins this award. The New York Jets come into this season to end the season with the AP Offensive Rookie of the Year and the Defensive Rookie of the Year. It just goes to show how much talent they have on both sides. And for Robert Saleh, man, I got to give him credit. First year he comes in and he drafts, the AP Rookie of the Year on offense and on defense. So it's just good for him. The only thing that's terrible right now in New York is their quarterback situation with Zach Wilson. So
get ready, bro. Get ready, man. Aaron Rodgers.
They gotta be saved, bro.
First round pick is Zach Wilson all the way, man.
They gotta save that team, man.
I mean, Lamar Jackson should consider going there, man. If the Ravens,
Oh, they gonna slap him with that franchise tag, man. He's stuck.
I hope he sits up, man. Tells him just fuck off. I swear.
But yeah, I mean, they got Brees Hall as a rookie this year, Sauce, and then Garrett Wilson. Yeah, they got themselves a nice little trio. I think they got to fix that quarterback situation, and then they could potentially be a wild card team next year. But the rest of these awards that were won the rest of the night, you have Next Gen Stats Moment of the Year that went to JJ's catch versus the Bills. The Walter Payne Man of the Year Award, Dak Prescott.
Ain't nobody care about that guy. They don't care about that guy.
And the AP Assistant Coach of the Year award, the award that we weren't going to discuss, ended up going to D'Amico Ryans. I just wanted to go ahead and say that.
Which is fair.
Fantastic coach right there.
Definitely.
Yeah. Houston Texans, he's now the head coach for them, and
we've seen coaches leave from the Niners. They become successful.
They're gonna get another defensive coordinator. Same thing. They just churn out defensive coordinators.
Yeah, so it's like they leave, another one comes in.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Is it like the coaching, or is it the talent they have on that side of the ball? I'll just go ahead and say it's a little mixture of both. To be fair, because
we do see these coaches leaving, they still play. They still coach great, like Robert Saleh, Mike McDaniels. Probably we're gonna see DeMarco Ryans as well.
Yeah, so yeah, he walked away with that award, but that pretty much wraps up the awards. All these other awards we don't necessarily care about like that. But any final words though before we sign off here?
Man, let's have a good game tomorrow. I'm excited.
Patty P. Mahomes, man, Ryan greatness. Can't wait to see you tomorrow.
I'll go ahead and ask this: who do you guys think will win Super Bowl MVP tomorrow?
It's definitely gonna be a quarterback.
Okay, I got Mahomes for the.
But
Chiefs.
the thing is, I think for Eagles different. Eagles might be different.
Eagles can be a toss-up. The Eagles can be anybody on that guy.
Because it could be someone like Hassan Reddick could come out of nowhere,
or it might be Miles Sanders. Who knows? He might come up 150 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Like it could be like I feel like for the Chiefs, it's a guarantee going to be a Patrick Mahomes. Like it's going to be a Patrick Mahomes. For the Eagles, it's going to be a somewhat between either Jalen Hurts or it's going to be Hassan Reddick, or it could be any of the guys. They have a bunch of guys. Just like you said, Miles Sanders could come up with 100 yards and 2 touchdowns out of nowhere, or AJ Brown could come up with 150 and 2 touchdowns. You never know with guys like that. So we just got to wait and see.
For me, I'm going to go ahead and predict that a defensive player will win the Super Bowl MVP award. I can't remember the last person to win it. Was it
Seattle?
Yeah, I think it might have been Seattle. So I'm gonna Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and predict that. But with that being said, of course, we're looking forward to a great Super Bowl matchup to close out our season. And with that being said, we'll go ahead and close things out here. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. We really appreciate your love and support. We'd greatly appreciate it if you like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at New Media Podcast. For those of you that are watching us on YouTube, all of our social media handles will be at the end of this video. And for those of you that are listening to us on Apple and Spotify, if you go to our Instagram page at New Media Podcast, you'll be able to navigate yourself to all of our social media handles there. So once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And of course, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Record a new hit, then we making us a film. Wouldn't sign a deal if I got a couple mil. Been in the lab, now they throwing out deals. Me and now Lakes, now that's overkill.